All right, we're live. It's just jiggly. I can't quite see everybody in there. I can see Ron. I think I gotta come this way. I can't see the flag. All right, Cheryl, you should let Maurice sit in the back.
You're so small.
Right.
Yeah, that way people can see you.
And I don't care if I'm off camera, because I'm getting more and more nervous now.
If you would rather not be, then I'll move it in. But your legs are on camera. They got nice legs there, Ron.
They can't recognize my knees.
I'm getting more and more nervous.
Your
It
knees.
might even get you
Did you
gender
know?
confused
Are
if
we
they
live?
look at your knees.
You're live.
Never mind.
You're live. America's very own political prisoner shows up great. All right. Well, I'm probably not going to sit too much like usual. All right. The microphones.
I'll be over there.
Here's one. I'll give it to you.
Bluetooth connected.
You're over here.
Go over here.
Isn't that like a new movie?
Uh-huh. It is. I'm sorry, baby. My brain is frazzled. It's been a long few months.
You're on air.
I have all the people who left the gulag yesterday. And
So we can't, that would have been nice to be able to look at that from there, but
Sure would have.
I think you guys are both in it. I'm just going to do the walk around for the most part and then sit over there. All right. Okay.
How you doing there, Tom?
Good. 7:04, we're close enough. All right, here we are at the VFW in Warsaw on January 26th, 2024. This is day 1015. 1115, sorry, 1115. And this is our tribute to the January Sixers. We were at the North Neck Regional Jail for well over a year. And with the new regime, we're finding a new, warmer, drier place to do our vigil and to call attention to the January Sixers, their families, and everyone associated with that. So, as usual, we'll start with a little prayer. And Heavenly Father, please help to guide us. And thank you, first of all, for this beautiful, beautiful 70-degree day in Virginia. Oh, my, wonderful. I didn't get here in time to get all of it, but it was a blessing, and thank you so much. And please, as always, give strength and guidance to everyone who's been affected by January 6th and their families, and as they work through these, hopefully, last year of this hell. And in Jesus' name, please give the people that are in charge of everyone in the Northern Neck Regional Jail the wisdom to behave in the best way that they can in your wisdom and will, and in Jesus' name, amen. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Yeah, what a beautiful day. My goodness. Did you get out a little bit?
Oh,
Yeah, you guys got out. I know you did.
And there's a lot going on in the world.
Well, go ahead. Start off. I got a couple of things I want to
My
talk about.
God, has everybody been checking out Cary Lake, Texas, California? Holy Toledo. I thought it was kind of interesting that the
RNC was going to go off and do a resolution to make Trump the presumptive nominee, but then at Trump's request, they backed it out. He says, I want to do it the old-fashioned way and go through the process.
I haven't seen any of this. I've just been so busy this week.
Oh, yeah. So Texas, I think what they did was they kind of officially declared war against the federal government. That's what it looks like. They've got all their ducks in a row, legally, constitutionally, everything. And it seems like almost every other hour, several times a day for the past few days, more and more states are piling on and sending their National Guard down to Texas, which is kind of amazing. Over there in California on the border, we've got our very own Freedom Truck Convoy going down there to take over, to some degree, whatever they're doing with the border. I think there's just a lot of stuff going on. I mean, there's enough. You know, it used to be just a year ago that there was, you know, everything was kind of status quo. There wasn't new news coming out like a flood. But now it seems to be flooding all the time. Not the least of which is the J6ers. But, you know, and that's what we're here for. But there's plenty of other material to discuss.
Yeah, that's for sure. Hey, Jericho, welcome. I'm in to you, brother. Indeed. One of the things that I want to make sure that we touch on here, though, keeping the focus as much as we can on January 6th, I just got a copy of the American Gulag Chronicles. I don't know if you guys have it or not, but I'm going to pass this around. And this is something that is really...
You didn't go on the Patriot website.
Yeah. It's basically letters from prison, and this has been out for quite some while. This is actually, I think, was done, and its first printing was in 2022. It's been second printing here in 2023, and there's a new version that's coming out. So the American Gulag Chronicles, Letters from Prison, Tim Rivers, and you can look it up. But I've actually pre-ordered the second copy of this. So it's really awesome, really great stuff in there.
Is it a sequel or is it just updated? You know?
The second edition is coming out shortly, is all I know. And then also Save the Kid. You guys have this, I know, we talked about it. This is Reed Christensen's book. And I've ordered a dozen of them and I'm passing them out to everybody. It's awesome. Reed is really quite a distinguished historian and very clearly understands things that I think a lot of people don't stop to think about. And in here he's got basically a compass of 4 things that will save our country. And I got to tell you, you can read this in about a night or 2 nights, and it's really awesome. Do you have one yet? I'd like you to take that and then pass it around because that's what we're doing.
So I have some news from the Gulag yesterday. Last
Perfect.
Night about,
Do you want the microphone?
microphone. So yesterday, 4 guys were released from the DC Gulag. We don't know where their final destination is, but they're out, and I guess whoever's left back, they're going into little withdrawals because there's 4 guys that's not there anymore, so they kind of grow as a family. So Reed Christensen, he is gone now. Oh. We don't know where he's going, and he probably didn't get my letter that I mailed on Monday. William Billy Crestman and Kenneth Bonowitz, Thomas Ballard, Ballard, they all left, and I guess we'll find out where their final destination is. And I guess we'll hear from tonight from the guys about what's going on with Andrew Taki and Brian Jackson, because as of yesterday, they were still not back to the J6 pod, and Chris is going on a hunger strike. So he's refusing to eat. So he said the other night, I don't know, he's not doing a very good job of it, but he said he's going on a hunger strike, writing on his trays that free Brian and Andrew and get him back to the J6 pod. And I guess I'll tell you more about that tonight when he calls in. Yeah, he says, okay. He keeps going to the commissary and getting more stuff, so he's not really,
What else you got?
that's it for now. I still have to do the homework assignment while I'm talking to you.
You got to use the microphone because nobody's going to understand it.
You're on camera, babe.
I know. We could do a roll call.
Okay, you want to do it? I didn't eat, so I'm eating a pretzel.
I could do it, but it doesn't come out as good. I'm getting, hopefully I'll get better at this.
They're alphabetical.
I love the little font, Tom. Okay, Howard Adams, Zachary Alam, Tim Bogner, Nicholas Rockoff, Jeffrey Brown, Mason Corson, Lucas Denny, Israel Esterday, Brandon Fellows, Mitchell Gardner, Kenneth Harrelson, Albuquerque Head, Adam Jackson, Brian Jackson, Justin Jersey, David Judd, Cash Kelly, Joshua Kenyon, Nicholas Lagerand, Samuel Lazar, Marcus Maley, Mark Mazza, Patrick McCauley, Jonathan Mellis, Matthew Miller, Robert Morris,
Howdy.
Jonathan Manafo, Daryl Neely, Ethan Nordine, William Norwood, Michael Perkins, Dominic Pizzola, Mark Ponder, Ronnie Presley, Mahaley Pryor, Chris Quaglin, Barry Ramey, Zachary Ryle, Liam Reed, Howard Richardson, Thomas Robertson, Daniel Rodriguez, Jeffrey Sable, Ryan Samsel, Ronald Sandlin, Troy Sargent, Jeffrey Sills, Andrew Taki, Enrique Chario, Ricky Wilden, and Kyle Young.
Awesome, thank you. Welcome. Come on in if you want to join us here. We're just getting, we walked in to find that they had a banquet set up for us. But no servers, so we just figured we'd
Food will
just
come tomorrow, but we won't be here.
Well, thank you. I'll sit right here.
So someone just asked if the Save the Kid book is available otherwise than through Amazon, and it is. So I'm going to see if I can find it here while we're waiting.
The Patriot Mail Project website sells the American Gulag Chronicles, and I think it's about $50. But
Right,
go
so
on the-
thanks, Cheryl. So perfect. Here we go. For more information, visit savethekid.com, and then also down below americangulag.org. So between the two of them, you might be able to order them directly. I agree. I did it in a hurry with Amazon, and I'm just glad I have them to pass them out because these are really great for getting people who know a little bit about the subject but not much to personalize them on Reed's story. And it's pretty abhorrent what happened to him, where he was just suddenly thrown in basically naked
right.
overnight with a smock. And they actually gave him a second smock, so he had one on his lower part, one on his upper part, laid on a mat on the floor in a jail with the lights on all night long, recovering from a stroke, no medication, nothing much to drink. It's a perfect story to show you just how quickly they can take any one of us and round us up and throw us in there because we speak out against the state.
Yeah, I guess our names are out there.
Oh, yes. Yes.
So another thing I want to talk about, it's on J6. You had mentioned you have a lot of things to talk about. I don't know if there's one in particular. I want to get the smart meter thing in here for everybody who's listening to us. You have something
kind of hoping that we'd go through, try to stay focused on J6, but there's.
Oh, I thought you were wanting to do others.
No, I was just kind of breaking the ice, but there is a lot of things going on.
With J6. Yes, with J6.
Yes, there are with J6, but that's not where I was going with all
Go
that.
for it, because I just want to get this in, so you go first.
I don't really have anything, that's what I'm trying to tell you.
Okay, misunderstood. Thought there was a lot. Here is something I want people to understand. I got a smart meter installed on my house last Friday with no no warning, and a sticker left on my door hanger. And had I had something like this in front of it, constructive contract, public notice warning, major personal liability, it might have slowed the installer down. I don't know, but I'm going to pass these out to anybody who does not have a smart meter yet and would like to have one, or at least take a look at it. But the smart meters are coming all over Virginia. And if you don't know anything about smart meters and their not radioactive, but RF frequency radiation that they put out, they're a real health consideration and a hazard for some people. Aside from that, they're a surveillance tool. If you think about smart cars, smart phones, smart tablets, smart refrigerators, smart appliances, SMART, which means, do you know?
No, I don't.
Self-monitoring and reporting technology. Sounds pretty innocuous, right? Self-monitoring and reporting technology. Well, who does it report to? And what does it report? And what do they learn about you? It's just like your credit card every time you go to the grocery store, or if you put your member club number into, the grocery store, they know exactly what you buy, how often you buy it, and so on and so on. It's all about data. This should be up your alley. You understand what I'm talking about
So,
there.
yeah, I think we probably had one on our house before we bought the house. And I noticed a few years back that there was this ghost Wi-Fi network close to my house, but I couldn't figure out where it was coming from because it wasn't mine. And so it wasn't on all the time, but every time this white truck comes down my driveway, the guy from the local power company comes down the driveway, it would kick on. And at that point, I had figured out how to get an alert when that particular network came available. And I don't know who names these things, but this thing's called Sam Dog with a few numbers behind it. So I asked the guy in the white truck, what are you doing, man? Why are you here? And he says, oh, I'm here to read the meter. I said, but you're already turned around. You never got out of your truck. He says, no, I get here close enough to it. It kicks on the Wi-Fi. It tells me what I need to know when I go. I'm like, okay, that sounds really fun. I'm glad you told me that, because now I'm going to poke at it a little bit more.
Well, this technology, they don't even need to drive by in a vehicle. They have central monitoring stations that are around that collect everything in your neighborhood. So you've got Wi-Fi signals going all around your neighborhood that were never there before. And this is the problem, because this hasn't been studied, the impacts. And we're talking about up to 180,000 times a day this thing's reaching out. And not just like cell phone signal strength, it's much stronger than cell phone or microwave and those kinds of things. So the health impact of these things has not been studied, but there are people who are extremely sensitive and impacted by these things. So you'll be hearing more about it in Northumberland County shortly. So I'm going to be working on that, and I'm going to be pushing on this really hard, because we got to push back. I want to get a petition going. I want to get people signed up to try to prevent it in the first place if they care, and then once they're on there, to try to help get them off.
I think the county's probably still got too much sleep in their eyes still.
I think the county's quite interested, actually, and I can tell you more about it off camera, but the county is definitely interested, so I think it's going to be a good thing here, maybe in Northumberland as a start, actually.
I'm from Matthews County, and I'm a farm open to the public, and we were open today and busy. It was quite crazy. People are sitting around talking about all this. They are. We've actually created a monster by having debit cards and all that, because it's tracking us, everything we buy. then it escalated to, you know, the meters. I mean, everything. We have created monsters that we shouldn't have.
Sue Cheryl sent me something today from Breakfast Club.
Oh, I love Sue.
Yeah, and I should show it to you because you'll recognize it right away. She must have shared it, but it was a pastor who was speaking about it, and he had a gentleman from Silicon Valley on describing it. That's how he got the whole acronym and everything else. But it's exactly ties into this whole idea of controlling, putting you in a digital prison. We're in a debt prison now. When they turn the thing around and get rid of the last bit of the American dollar, you know, having any worth, then we're going to be in a carbon and water prison where our social scores will dictate how wealthy we can be in this country. And that sounds just crazy, but it's not. It's right on our doorstep.
I have a store on the farm, and people are all of a sudden they're using cash. I've really noticed, because we take debit and credit, and all of a sudden it's cash. It's been cash all day today, and I'm like, people are starting to say, well, you know, we invented this monster where it cost us money to buy things, extra money. It's a charge, you know, to the vendor, to the person selling it, and to the person using it, and you know, everybody's saying, you know, go back to cash.
Yeah.
So on the cash part, one of the things I noticed a month or two ago, we were running some errands and we needed to get some lunch, and between the errands and the lunch, I noticed that if you were using anything other than cash, that business was going to charge you more, regardless. They would, like, to get a haircut, they were going to charge you 5% more to not use cash.
Yeah.
And then we went to the pizza place and they had cash and credit card prices, and that had nothing to do with the fees when you put the card in the machine. They literally had a separate price, and they favored cash. So I think there's some things going on there. All the early on assumptions that we all were making about where this is all going may have been a little bit premature, because I'm seeing some pushback coming from regular businesses. They don't want to do it.
Yes, exactly. And you know, when we've been open since 2017, and when it first started, the charges on the debit and credit were very low, but now they're going up, you know. So, you know, it's gotten, but you're hung, you're stuck. You know, you've got to use it, because a lot of people don't carry any cash. So we need to get them back being smart. And the word SMART standing for something other than what he just said.
That acronym stands for a bunch.
We need to be smart.
Yeah.
So what Sue sent me was Current Events from a Biblical Worldview. It's a weekly series on Rumble. Current Events from a Biblical Worldview. Pastor spoke at the Breakfast Club last year. He's warning about digital identities and the connection to smart meters. And so it's on Rumble. We need a digital ID, current events from a biblical view. Anyway, I think you can find it from there. So it was fascinating to listen to.
Well, you know, you can chip your dogs. You know, there's people over in some of the countries that are starting to chip people. So
That's right.
They've actually been doing that here. There's people that didn't think that it was something bad. I've heard stories of, like, hikers that go into some really remote places. They'll chip themselves so they can be found if they get lost. It's kind of crazy.
I have to share. I got a letter from Robert Morris, and he asked that I share this with everybody. It's a homework assignment. Wouldn't you know it? But it sounds like fun. He says, I would like to begin an initiative to confirm that the Lego Man is here to stay, and one that will represent our movement favorably. A movement that will show wholesome, constructive family values that we cherish of America as Americans. What better way to communicate that than by featuring photos on the website of patriotic Americans who support the Lego Man. I would never post anything of anyone on the internet without their consent or blessing. If anyone would feel comfortable participating in this initiative, including their smiling faces being featured with value on AKAthelegoman.com, the 2 G's, here is what you and anyone else you find that would want to be included can do. There are 3 things. Take a photo of you and your friends with an uplifting written message with the badass, patriotic, get-her-done attitude you guys have constantly done for years now. 2, represent what state you and your friends are from with pride and some form of fashion. Feel free to get creative. And then 3, incorporate Legos into the photo. Again, get creative.
I like that.
If this sounds like something you would like to do, feel free to send either me photos that follow the above criteria to get this initiative up and running. Again, the email address is aka@thelegoman@gmail.com. That's aka the Lego 2Gs man @gmail.com. Or you can write to him, go to that website, or go to patriotmailproject.com and you can see his where you can write to him. So I'm gonna, people who want to get a screenshot of that, I'll put that.
Awesome, thanks, Cheryl.
I saw that. I was gonna put it in our email newsletter this week. I just wish he called it something besides homework. I don't like homework.
Let's see, I don't know if you could,
Well,
this could be
because,
done.
right?
Call it like a project.
Well, he's
He is a
he's a
teacher,
teacher.
right? History teacher, right? So,
Yeah.
But he has a letter he wants me to read to everybody, to the Northern Neck Patriots. I don't know if I should do that online or not.
probably not online. But
So, I got a question. Anybody hear about the J6 committee discoveries that the House has had?
that there was they found hours, 200 and some hours or some number, I'm really gonna get it wrong, of deleted files that are still encrypted, but, right, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, so they found several hundred, and apparently they're continuing to dig because the numbers change and it keeps going up a little bit every time I hear about it. But, yeah, they're still encrypted, but that doesn't make them bulletproof.
Well, they thought they were erased, but they weren't really erased either, right?
No, that's exactly right. So all that exculpatory evidence that they tried to delete, it's not gone. We got it, and I can tell you that the encryption's not gonna stay locked forever. I give it a week, 2 weeks.
Well, hopefully they'll release it. That's the important thing. I mean, why? It's got to be good stuff if they were willing to try to delete it and hide it.
Oh,
right?
I agree completely. It's gotta be something that they didn't want out, obviously, or they would have just obeyed the law and kept it around and made it available. But they didn't do that, did they?
We looked at it.
I have extra copies, so I got it.
Okay, thank you.
But that's encouraging.
It is.
Because it seems that more and more is coming out. And it's, I know here amongst us, we all know how this game has played out. But there's an awful lot of people outside these 4 walls that still don't seem to understand what's been going on. Not just here in the Northern Neck, but nationwide. And yet, I find it interesting, because we'll watch other blogs. We got people from other countries telling us what's going on with J6ers, and they're usually right. So I just wish some of these other folks around would kind of catch on and start getting some traction.
About half the people that came by the farm today did not know anything about J6. And I was like, where have you been?
Say that again on camera.
About half the people that came to the farm today had not even heard about J6. And I'm like, what rock have you been under? And we got these discussions going all the time. And it's a lot of people, you would not believe it, they just totally tune out. They're in their own little world, and
Right.
which those are the people that are uninformed voters that don't know what's going on. And if you don't know what's going on, you should not be allowed to vote.
There should be a pretest, right?
Yes. Homework.
I agree. My daughter even went so far as to point out that people need to have a license to have kids. But
Oh
Oh
my!
gosh, oh my goodness.
Don't go there.
Oh my
I'm not going
goodness.
to go there. But
But yeah, you need to know what's going on. on.
You do.
know, I mean.
So did you ask them, how come they don't know?
Yeah, I'm
I
like,
mean, you got
aren't you
radio and
watching any
communications
kind
and
of
everything. I mean,
news? You know, I
they not
mean,
know.
yeah, they just, I don't know. What's J6? I'm like,
That's what somebody
what?
answered to me. What's J6?
Yeah.
It's the cyber leg of the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
Oh, somebody's calling.
It's probably Chris.
Hello, this is a prepaid call from an inmate at the Washington, D.C. Central Detention Facility.
Run out soon.
To accept this call, press 0. To refuse this call, your current balance is $1.17.
Oh, no.
This call is from a correction facility and is subject to monitoring and recording.
We better all chip in.
Thank you for using Global Tel Link.
Hello.
Hello, guys. How are you, Patriots?
We're doing great. How are you tonight? We got $1.17 left on our account, so speak quickly.
That's all right. So really quick, let's get into it. Trump plans the Senate border package. Hell no. We're not going to do this, all right? The radical left wants this so they can have the numbers for the Democrats to win elections. That's what it's all about. They don't care about anything else besides winning these elections and trying to get these numbers in here. So, that's number one. I would say migrant crisis. Broke a new record in December, 302,000 encounters. That's absolutely insane. Governor Greg Gianforte says it's an absolute invasion.
Right.
It is.
Right.
And it's disgusting. That's, we're getting to number 3. Dan. Talking about good old Texas. Border Patrol. Border Patrol is weaponized against the Texas National Guard.
Right.
For those of you who don't know, the Texas National Guard is basically the Texas State Guard. It's not National Guard. It's not. It's not ran by the national government, meaning Joe Biden's. What a weird deal for the deep state to die on. I mean, you're going to have a direct confrontation between the feds and the state, not the same state, but the state of Texas, over issues that would ultimately lead to our country continuing to be overrun. I really don't understand. It's absolutely insane. The Supreme Court ruled 5-4 against Texas for protecting the border. It's unheard of.
Amy
Go ahead.
Amy Coney Barrett was the tiebreaker.
Yeah, and it's pretty insane. I mean, listen, you guys can argue this, that, and the other, but it's how you can allow this to continue to happen. You have to figure out. I mean, you have to wonder what powers are really taking place. So Texas Governor Abbott invoked the Supreme Law of Texas. Basically, what that says is it's in the Texas Constitution, and it's the right for Texas to the right to self-defense. Okay, so Texas is saying, listen, it's our self-defense because we're being invaded. So the federal government right now is trying to federalize the Texas National Guard so that crazy Joe Biden can allow millions of illegals to cross the border. So what's happened now is Texas State Troopers, Texas National Guard, and all other Texas law enforcement are armed, are basically at the border and saying, F around and find out, Joe. You aren't cutting this razor wire. So as J6ers mid-feud with the Biden administration. So even their brothers and sisters here, and that they're all, they don't like what they're doing. I mean, it's absolute. inform these feds that this is the lawful right of Texans. This was, the 13th Amendment came out. You know, there was a vote, everything else. You know, Joe Biden, I'm hopping back on, but, you know, it's crazy what's going on. I have number 4 here, which is Biden's approval rating. It's only, those of you on the outside probably still see the exact same number of Biden-Harris bumper stickers, folks, and this is why people are so pissed off on January 6th. Okay, I don't know how, and now they're locking up more and more people. And we basically, you know, I'm going to do what the mainstream media does. I'm going to add a couple what's changed, but, you know, in the 2016 and really even the 2020, noting that this is the first time in the last 8 years that we've really seen the RNC, the serious 2 terabytes worth of hard drives and everything else happen to be GOP took over the House. Is that not the real obstruction that people need to be talking about? Not America's history. The DOJ tries to use the fact January 6th was one of, like Chris said, if not the most, I could say it was the most patriotic year for your future or your other patriot brothers. You have. Ask yourself how you'd react. Never, you know, it's really easy for some of these people to look at actions that we're taking on just daily notes of how I've been treated for the past 3 years. I can't wait for our long.
What happened was, y'all recall that last week or the week before, the Supreme Court ruled in favor.
More money on our account?
It'll let us know. I don't control.
After the election, the Supreme Court said, you know, their biggest concern was that the argument. But so when states have to take it, and in fact, I just forwarded a Gateway Pundit article to Tom.
Detention facility. To accept this call, press 0.
I don't run at the time. I read the introduction chapter yesterday. It was fairly short, but there's not enough time to read it on here for ourselves and reasons why and what government does. So today I wanted to read to you, jump into this. Common Sense Applied Today, Chapter 1. Payne notes then, in 1776, society is produced by our wants and government by our wickedness. Society by restraining our vices. Society encourages, just so you guys know, society is a patron, government is a punisher. Payne rightly explained, society in every state is a from one to get to another. Like compulsory means that are overrun with crime and violence. In 2020, Seattle, Washington saw city blocks, and you will be left wondering, who is in charge of this place? Payne continues, our claim aimed at ourselves, the government at once requires your voluntary consent, yet will render punishment least. Wherefore, security being the true design and end of government, it unanswerable than alone. A small group of people in a short time can erect a complex town or city, whereas a person working on enforced by no other penalty than public disesteem. Anyone who studies the beginning of our government stretches bound beyond commerce to complicate the form and functions of really complex that the nation may suffer for years together without being able to discover, subdue the poor, to expand government at every corner to make up for moral virtue, ripping true in the person of the king. Today this is manifest in the form of president, leader of the thing. There is no gold or silver as currency. Selectively enforced laws such as at our southern, these figures care less about the creation of a community park and more about what resources can be executive, the judicial power, and vested it as a separate from executive and legislative power, the very bloodstream of the USA government. The first president of the USA, George Washington, said themselves the reins of government, destroying afterwards the very engines which have lifted them to via Hegelian dialectic, till all jobs are government no meeting or they are flat contradictions. Though the expressions be pleasantly arranged, yet when examined, checked or balanced the power or known illicit behavior of another branch. Consider the list of judges arises as much more from national pride than reason. For as we are never in proper condition of doing justice to others while we continue under the.com. I felt inspired to go through Common Sense and it protects itself like it's a divine power, and it's not. It should be.
Talking about digital IDs and this idea of trying to control every bit of.
Given an identification number, right? And we receive benefit from the government.
Minute remaining.
Anyways, It's interesting writing something that from /John Atakis Family Health.
And also the website. Say it again. Peasants. Peasantsperspective.com. Thank you.
On the same matter that he talks about. And that is to say that there are 3 branches governed by the other 3 branches. Somebody turned that pyramid upside down. But the true superpowers, they have a lot of superpowers, and I think they're starting to wake up to that fact. To hear and see people waking up and kind of.
Jonatakis. Taylor Jonatakis.
Okay, let's do this.
Kathy. All right. So, yeah, this is the problem. I don't know. Wait.
The gear. Unless this, have you already connected to me once? Yes, you're there. All right,
Zeus.
you're
We're
connected.
all connected, because she's supposed to be coming to talk to the Breakfast Club
Right.
soon too.
All right. Hopefully that's better, folks. We
I definitely want to come in March to hear Bob Haircut.
had to connect to another Wi-Fi. I don't know if you've seen this yet.
He was showing me it. Yeah, it's great. I took pictures of it.
This is great. Where did you get this?
This is stuff that I got from Virginia Medical Freedom Alliance around, and I've got a whole series of stuff on that run.
Darlene intercepted the guy when he was coming to install that thing. And so we didn't get it installed. I had left a notice on the meter. I said, do not install a smart meter.
Oh, good for you
We do
for
not
doing
want
that.
one.
Yeah.
But he never saw it because she intercepted him before he got back.
Well, that's good. Here's some more just info related to that. Yeah. And this was a letter that, I'm not sure if this is the end result, but they have put together some things to do. So the first thing was to go to your local board supervisor and talk to them, and I've got that teed up. And I'm gonna be doing some more work around that front. All right. Those were a couple of good calls. Boy, Chris and Dominic have it all lined up with their little back and forth, don't they?
Yeah, they're a good team. Probably gonna wait a little while because they're celebrating now with Brian.
So, yeah. So that shouting was that, hey, the noise going on is that Scooter and Taki just got back to the pod. They've been out for what, 3 weeks at least now, something like that? Yeah, because
Stuck them in solitary or
yeah. But anyway, so it's kind of cool that they're back. You could tell they were excited about it. Wasn't it cool to be here listening to that? Can you imagine those guys walking in there, hearing the cheers and the hugs, and awesome.
Yeah.
Why were they put in solitary?
Oh, I'm not sure they told a whole lot about it, but I thought that Scooter, I'm not sure, but Taki, I thought, got into it with
Somebody.
Alam, maybe. Somebody, I'm not sure. Somebody came down and there was a altercation and they took them
I think
away.
the first night I came, they were talking about that.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay.
So they've been sitting down in solitary ever since. That's a long time.
It is.
So
Yeah,
probably
this,
need a
this,
few minutes
this,
there to-
this stuff is.
I've heard solitary's like one of the worst punishments because, and it's almost cruel punishment to be in solitary.
You may recall the Wayback Machine. Back in the day, Greek civilization, ostracization was their primary form of punishment.
Yeah.
So you'd be off on your own, you're cut off now. And that was their primary form of punishment. So they knew that it worked.
Oh, yeah.
Because nobody wanted to go through that,
Oh, yeah.
to be completely cut off from everything.
Well, I think we talked about it last year that Virginia had actually enacted in legislation last year a new ruling that solitary confinement could only be 22 hours a day, I think. They couldn't.
I remember those discussions. I don't
It
remember
used
the
to be
numbers.
23 and 1, and then they made it 22 and 2, and it may have been a little less than that. And there were very specific requirements for what the 2 hours that you're out are. That couldn't be just, oh, you get to walk outside your cell and back into it. It was very specific.
Hello, this is a call from an inmate at the Washington, D.C. Central Detention Facility. To hear your payment options, press 0. To refuse this call, hang up, or to receive calls from this inmate, you must first fund an advance pay calling account. Press 5 to request an account by using MasterCard or Visa. You may also visit us online at The party which you called has selected to set up or fund a prepaid account for their phone number. This call will now be disconnected so that a prepaid account can be funded for future calls. Please try your call again in a few minutes. Thank you for choosing to create or
We're gonna have a little delay here.
Yeah, I was wondering how that worked with the pay accounts. I wasn't sure if the guys were funding that from their money or if we were doing that, so.
Well,
Tom works wonders.
Yes, yes.
He just makes it happen.
If we need to chip in some money too, please let us
I
know.
would think that he should get reimbursed.
I think so too. Did I hear something about it costs money to be here too?
Mm-hmm.
So
We're gonna work on that.
we ought to chip in a
Well,
little.
we're gonna talk about that.
Okay.
at the next meeting.
Yeah,
We pay, not dues, but we chip in every month over here when we're here, so
Yeah.
that would go to.
as an organization, NAP has funding vehicles that we use, like she was just talking about passing around the hat.
Yeah,
I think Larry does that most of the time. Where'd
great
Larry
idea.
go? Did Larry leave?
You probably got a phone call.
Oh.
Anyway, probably shouldn't talk about this online,
Well, it's okay.
but, yeah, so,
Well, we care enough to pay if we need to, you know.
yeah, but we are paying, because we do pass around the hat, and that's what
Yeah.
it's for these things.
Yeah. I definitely want to chip in. I'll chip in some money.
So,
I'm really encouraged that you had people talking about it all day long.
Oh yeah, people are talking, and you know they're talking about how the food is poison, and we all need to be thinking about what we're eating and what we're doing, and you know, and pay more attention, and yeah.
You know, I'm not 100% sure because I don't have access to the numbers, but I think if everybody just grew their own food, there would be those who grow more than enough and those who grow but grow not quite enough.
Yeah.
In the end, I think it would all work out.
Well, that's how they used to do it,
Uh-huh.
you know, and yeah, a lot of people are talking. A lot of people are wanting to learn how to, you know, take care of themselves because
we have several gardens ourselves.
yeah,
50 by 25 and the
Yes.
30 by 30, a
yeah.
few others, but
You know, and a lot of young families are really fluent into it. It's very comforting to me to see young people thinking about it. So
Yeah, I've seen young people who, and I've actually heard them say that their older siblings are nuts.
well, some people are just like that is too much work, but you know,
No,
It's a lot of work.
I was actually referring to, you know, their belief systems.
oh, right.
So there's a generation coming behind that apparently thinks that they've got a better idea than their older siblings.
Mm.
This is a prepaid debit call from
somebody,
an inmate at the Washington, D.C. Central Detention Facility. To accept this call, press 0. This call is from a correction facility and is subject to monitoring and recording. Thank you for using Global Tellink.
Hello.
Hey guys, listen, I'm going to give you off the brew, but I just wanted to say Taki and Jackson are back in the Patriot Pod.
Woohoo! We heard that. Yay! Yeah, they've been gone what, 3 weeks?
Yes, this is Mark Brew. Yeah, you're talking about talking in Jackson?
Yeah, hey, Mark. Yeah, exactly.
Yes. So, you know, they cooked up this investigation, and unfortunately, it was started by some false information that was being put out there, some salacious stuff, and it got carried out to the public, and then that triggered an investigation about Psaki and Jackson, if they were white supremacist gang trying to recruit people in the J6 pod. And so it was slanderous, to say the least, and it has done harm to them. Because what happened is they triggered the investigation, and then they stuck two suspected white supremacists in a predominantly black pod. That's not what you do. That is not the protocol. You know, if there's gang or race issues, they have an obligation in care, custody, and control to focus on the care, since it does come first. And I said this in the town hall, and then we've carried that out, and I've said it again in the public. And finally, they decided, well, yeah, maybe that's the right idea. So there is a lot of process issues, not followed, and some of them actually are to our benefit as far as comfort, but at the same time, we shouldn't be in here to begin with. And so, when Donald Trump says that we're hostages, we absolutely are. And what he means by that is that we are collateral for a mortgage-backed security in which the courts have turned us into in commerce. Okay, and so now, when Trump said that there might be some issues with the prisons and the prison system and the jails, that there's incentive for these judges to prosecute, he wasn't just saying it to hear himself talk. He may seem like that, but he is not. They have created contracts where they don't practice law, they practice policy. It's contract law. And so when you get in there, they strip you of rights, and they put you into a contract. And the contract is 4 elements to a contract, okay? You've got your offer, which is the prosecutor as what's called a movant in Latin. And so the prosecutor makes the offer for what's called a fit bond, and then the judge accepts it. So there's got to be an offer, an acceptance, and a consideration for performance, and an obligation. So the court clerk is the third part of that, which they put everything into the court registry investment system. And that is a loophole that they've created in order to gain for all services rendered. So they have essentially, you are dead to rights when you go into their courts. So to acknowledge them, to contract with them, is basically to acknowledge their authority, and that is the issue. That's what it meant in the Bible when Jesus went into the temple and he turned over the money changers' tables in the temple and rushed them out. These are the guys that are holding back American exceptionalism, and they're profiting off of human trafficking. They create an entire prison planet economy with vending and everything that requires the lifeblood of individuals, of human beings. So the government has created its own problem in order to fuel this prison planet. They've allowed the fentanyl to come in, so we have drug addicts and drug users and drug dealers and this and that. We have broken homes through incentive for single parenthood. So yes, they're basically making an excuse for this prison planet. Oh, the world's getting rougher and everyone's getting, stealing and killing. Well, a nation is only good as its society, as its people that run it. A nation is the sum of its people. And the ones that are running it are controlling the culture through regulations and statutes. So by not enforcing the border, they are creating the issue. And these judges are profiting off of this system, as well as other law enforcement. So the DOC, BOP, God, who else? I mean, court services, the judges associations in every state, federal and local, are in fraud. And here's the issue. They created the loophole that all the judge is doing is signing off the bid bond, approving the bid bond. He's not managing it, okay? Not directly. However, that changes his title from a judge to a fiduciary. He's nothing more than a bank teller. And so the only illusion they have, the only authority they have is the illusion and the wool that they pulled over the American people. And this is how they are slowing us down in correcting our nation and going back to public law. And they're using human beings. You heard it not too long ago, maybe a month ago. The FBI is investigating and going after more Jan 6ers. Why? Because it's profitable for them to do so. And they need the profit because Operation Sandman is de-dollarizing and the fiat dollar is losing its value. So they have to artificially prop up the economy with human life. Make no mistake about it. They are the counterfeit. They are the counterfeit God that's talked about in Revelation, the beast.
Mark, do you think that your speaking at the town hall had something to do with Scooter and Taki getting out?
I started the conversation and then I said it on a vigil. I know that Quaglin realized that I had something there, and it's basically liability. When they put you into custody, and don't get this wrong, they trafficked us into custody, okay? They kidnapped us using a military occupation. The law that was broken is the DoD War Manual, which is military tactics on a civilian population, okay? These all have been established in international law. And so we were trafficked out of our civil jurisdiction because that's how you determine if there was a crime committed, is that you have a civil trial. This is how O.J. Simpson got away with killing his wife, Nicole, is that they said they robbed him of due process, putting us in double jeopardy, because now that I'm done with the criminal case, they're going to turn around and try to sue me as a named Proud Boy in a civil case. Okay, so this is perpetual exile. They have placed Americans in perpetual exile. Okay? So, by our tacit consent, this federal government still exists.
Well, I think that's a fascinating concept, and I'm going to have to think about it a bit. When you were talking earlier, I thought of the concept. A friend of mine often says when people say they understand, especially in a court of law, when you say I understand, it means you think you're saying I acknowledge or I get it, but what you're actually saying is you stand under their authority. Do you follow that concept?
I mean, I guess words matter, and if you want to think about it in a spiritual sense, every time you're speaking, you're casting spells. And are you casting good ones as in the form of blessings, or are you casting them as curses? And so, if you think about it from that perspective, in a higher dimension of thought, then yeah, that's true. And so, but it's very hard to make a claim and prosecute somebody who is in public law, because we have rights. Those rights are, the criteria is were your rights violated
were you violated? Were you harmed or damaged? And then, there must be a redress of grievance, which is damages. Damages must be remedied. So the system that's created is artificial, and I wish I was more professional in law speak in order to convey it as good as Taylor does through his avenue of things. But I'm using public law because we've got to pull out of the private contract law. It's nothing more than a corporation that is assuming authority over the public. And their own documents that come from the UN Steering Committee says that when a government becomes a nation, or when a government becomes a corporation, they no longer hold authority over the public, except by their own, except for by their own agreement. So that's the gist of it right there. And these guys know what they're doing. They're very, very much, they are well versed in this stuff, way more than I am. And so, so it's so difficult to express, the right things. I'm publishing the claims that I have for the misprison and the attempted murder that the prosecutor has established in the court record. He said that I am a part of the sovereign citizen movement, and that is a lie. He is a murderer. That is political, and a call for their execution. They're already a second-class citizen in the eye of the public. That's how the Gypsies and Jews, were persecuted in mass without the German people really giving too much of a fuss about it. But in public law, in international law, they were still found guilty, even though legally they found a way called reappropriation to take the properties and monies from the Jews and the Gypsies and give it back to Germans. They lawfully plundered them and stole it, and they committed genocide against a population.
Hey, Mark, can you still hear us okay?
Yes, I can.
Hey, tell us a little bit of your background, too, and if you want to plug your Gibson Go or anything like that, I want to make sure to get that in, okay? I think this is the first time we got to speak to you.
Yeah, my name is Mark Anthony Brew. I've been talking about public law for a long time, since it's for 3-4 years now. I started off doing a couple of YouTube videos to really try to expose the child trafficking through the family court services and the weaponized arms.
You have 1 minute remaining.
CPS, and so that was really where it all started. On top of this January 6th stuff, getting really into it. I started off with those type of cases. So I've been working on this, a long time. I haven't raised very much money over the last 3 years. I think $7,000 in total, which the government wants to seize. And so, this is why I'm at the, after 3 years, I'm still so far behind on what I should have been doing 2 years ago. But anyway, it was good to talk to you guys, and I hope that helps with your situation, because I hear the Northern Neck, there's about 3 judges that benefit from the jails there, so.
Well, yeah, we need to continue running down that avenue. I don't know a lot about it, but definitely. So thanks so much for calling us tonight. Appreciate it.
Thank you for using Global Tellink.
So that keeps coming up. It keeps coming up about the judges locally. That was Mark Anthony Brew.
BRU.
B-R-E-U?
BRU, just BRU.
B-R-U. Thank you. Mark Anthony Brew. Cool. Mark Brew, yes indeed. Angelina, hi there. And everybody else who's joined here a little bit. So awesome.
He mentioned something that kind of reminded me of something else that's going on. I saw earlier today that the international courts have accepted a case that was submitted by South Africa against Israel for their actions that look like genocide. And I thought that was kind of interesting. How does that work? South Africa bought the case. So that's one we're going to have to track and see how that goes. It is an international court, and we'll have to take a look at it.
Somebody I know, when they see a penny on the ground upside down, they turn it over
Then somebody else will pick
and
it up.
leave it for someone else.
You can't pick it up if it's upside down.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously I need to work on my phone plan. I ran out of data just by streaming this a little bit. But it takes
so
a
how
lot.
old is that phone? I mean, what I'm looking for is, you know, Verizon does that. Oh, you're eligible for a free upgrade.
I don't want 5G.
I get that.
I'm not going for that.
Okay. Yes, I understand. I don't have 5G either. I don't want it either.
Yep. But
A,
anyway.
it's oversold. B, it's bad for you.
I used to stream a lot of music and it would run out of data that way too. So I have to be connected to, you know, something else so that I don't do that. Or else I can't do basic stuff.
Were you connected to the jail when we were over there? Is that how you were doing it?
No, I did it through a hotspot, but that hotspot crept out. So
Oh,
who likes pretzels? Pennsylvania handmade pretzels.
Oh, just for the sake that they're handmade from Pennsylvania, I'll take one.
They're extra salt.
Susan went to Pennsylvania that time, to bring it back. Remember, being on pretzels, you do with yours?
I think so.
I had to stand up, I got to fall asleep.
They're crunchy. Aren't they good though?
Yeah.
Clean up my mess.
Everybody gets to watch people eat pretzels. Well, our banner's in the background. America's very own political prisoners, and I have to finish the top. And I'm thinking now, January 6th, I was going to say detainees, but now I'm thinking January 6th defendants, January 6th defendants, because not all of them are in jail, but they're all basically under the watchful spotlight of persecution of the government, politically, as prisoners. So anybody that's associated with that, they're coming after. But listen to these guys, they amaze me every single time. The knowledge that they have, just constitutionally,
Ability
even
to articulate.
yeah.
Are they able to see these on the YouTube?
I don't
there?
think so, but I think their family members do tune in. I know some of them do. I know Taylor's wife probably, I don't know if she's on here tonight, but she said hello a while back. And I know that it gets shared, so it's wonderful because that's really all it is. It's about getting their voices out there.
It is.
And I love it that they also can follow that up by posting that stuff out, and you know, pretty impressive, it really is.
I think it's so obvious, just by the quality of their persons, that they don't belong there.
Yeah, well, I mean, seems like a lot of people probably don't belong.
Well, yeah, so that question's been nagging me in the back of my head for a few years now, and that's, so how many others are there that we just don't know about because they just have
Exactly.
such a public event?
Or, yeah, well, individual cases of things where they haven't had their due process, they haven't had their discovery, they haven't had a good attorney, they've been in there wrongfully accused and convicted and everything else, so.
You know, all of our lives, we've always assumed that the system works fairly. But apparently, maybe not true.
Right, right.
So how bad is it really?
Yeah.
I think it's a fair statement to say that it's worse than we think, we just don't know how much worse.
Well, you gotta figure that a lot of the people think that, on the other side, think that these guys deserve this. How can they think that these guys deserve this? You know?
That's where mass mind control comes in.
Right.
Isn't there a theme though about what we were talking about? It's all about slavery, digital slavery. It's about slavery here. It's about
Brainwashing.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. It's a whole lot easier to control them if you can control what they believe.
Yeah.
We got to put the chairs back the right way.
Oh, do we? Okay. Are they having a wedding reception in here?
Who knows what they're having?
Yeah.
It looks like a nice event for sure.
I like the colors.
So we don't want to leave.
Yeah.
Walked in and said, "Hey, we got food tonight, look."
Yeah.
The refrigerator stopped.
Look, I texted Rob Whitman earlier.
What do you say?
'Cause I've been cleaning house today. I've been watching news on Newsmax and Fox all day long, and the number one topic on everybody is the border.
Oh, yeah.
The crisis going on, you know, between the state, Texas, and the federal government. So I put right here, I said, Rob, it's time to impeach Biden. The border crisis is the number one issue on America's mind. Biden isn't obeying the Constitution. Plus, you saw how Trump took the state of Iowa and New Hampshire. As you know, this is just the beginning. We the people are fed up. As you know, Rob, our nation isn't safe. Unfortunately, the terrorists are here. Just a matter of time. And something's going to happen like 9/11. I talk to the people in District 1 all the time. They are scared how the government is turning against us. In reply, we have the impeachment resolution for Mayorkas.
Right.
Mayorkas.
Yeah, coming up next week. P.S. Don't forget the J6s. We are keeping up with it all.
He said that?
Yeah.
Well, good. Good for Rob.
Give me a thumbs up.
Good for Rob Whitman.
Good.
They need to get on with the J6ers. They need to get out.
Yeah, that should have been done, man. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Did
Oh, I
y'all
wonder-
see that Biden met with the UAW, I think it was, and he
Yeah.
had his hard cap on
see this?
backwards?
Yeah. Hey, clean
Why?
talk, man. He was all
ready
confused,
for
clean
anything.
stuff
Yeah,
across.
he
Mumbling
wasn't-
and carrying on
He
his
wasn't
words.
talking well at all, and he had his hard hat on
Oh,
backwards,
dude.
Ivermectin?
and people noticed.
Yes, and dialysis.
I drive the shit.
Yeah, all kinds of shit.
Is your travel kit?
Yeah. You can get one too.
You know, when I see antibiotics in there, Tom, I wonder who you're visiting.
You can get one too. It's a case of an emergency. Anything
I
you
need one with like
What is it?
suture and
it's just,
needles and scalpels.
different-
Stuff with COVID or something.
COVID, anything you have, snake bite, whatever hits you. You know, anything that.
You know, you bring up a good point. I meant to do that
Ivermectin?
years ago.
Yep.
Is that in there?
Yeah.
I didn't see it in here, but.
There's probably a list in there.
In a previous life, I had this dream of living somewhere in the middle of Montana where the nearest neighbor was 100 miles away. And I knew that in order to do that successfully, I probably needed to be able to take care of my own medical needs. Because that was the one thing I could never get around, is if you're out that remote, that's the one thing you
Right.
gotta be able to take care of. That's why I ended up going to paramedic school, so that I could be able to handle that. That was the choice I made when they gave me the option of
You
reaching.
think you could do your own appendicitis?
No.
No, but I could talk her through it if I was on the right drugs.
I had to get it twice.
Those are your glasses?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Can I see that book that you had? I didn't.
Oh, the letters
Gulag,
one?
yeah.
No, I can't do the whole Rambo thing, you know, cutting myself open.
Well, it's interesting. I've seen, some historical accounts of
I already had my appendix out. so-
physicians are doing that kind of thing. It's not, it's actually happened. They've done weird things.
Well, over in India, when the COVID was happening, I forget his name, the guy in charge of India, he recommended, all of his people take a tea made with wormwood, and, which is an anti-parasitic, and supposedly it really helped his people during the COVID.
Well, they had a really great, a low,
They
Yeah.
handled it better than
They
any other
did.
country I can think of.
Now, their wormwood is different than ours.
Except maybe Japan, yeah.
We actually have a variety of wormwood here,
poisonous.
absinthe, but over there they've got a Nua, which is a sweet wormwood, which is a little stronger than ours. But yeah, they were swearing by that, you know, there's
India?
things out there to help, natural
India?
things, in India, yes.
Well, they take ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine to prevent diseases too.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
River blindness and
oh, yeah.
my refrigerator's stocked.
malaria.
My
It's
refrigerator-
amazing, so-
My refrigerator's stocked with all that.
Well, it's selling it here now, they stopped it one time, I was Mackin couldn't get it, can you get it now?
you can get it
You
now.
can get it now.
You can go order it online from India.
Oh, yeah,
Well, hydroxychloroquine, they call it the Sunday pill, don't they? Somewhere in Africa, they take one a
One a
week.
week.
I get it from All
Oh,
Day
really?
Chemists.
Yeah.
All Day Chemists.
Okay, I remember, yeah, okay, we were talking, okay,
Yeah.
alright.
Native Americans were coming and getting bone set. Bone set was an herb used during the Spanish flu,
Oh.
and, for the Spanish flu.
Is it?
So the Spanish flu's got an interesting history,
Yeah,
because it really didn't start in Spain. It started in Kansas,
really?
yes.
Was it a variety that originated in Spain? or-
Like somebody from Spain bought
No,
it.
it actually, the rumor is, and it's not really a rumor, that it started in a lab.
Oh,
I'm sure.
yeah.
The end result was that, it was the impetus behind, Johns Hopkins, getting their, what's the name of it? The division that does all that research. And it was funded by a guy by the name of Rockefeller.
Oh, thank you.
And the guy he put in charge of it was a guy by the name of, I think it was either Frederick or Henry, but Gates. Lots of coincidences back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And I find that stuff and I try to prove it wrong because it's just so outrageous that, you know, it's gotta be fake.
That's right. Thought there
Every
was
time I hear a fanciful story, I just gotta say, all right, what's really happening here? 'Cause,
Oh, I know.
you know. And I got a real problem, reconciling this notion that the dollar is collapsing because, you know, as we were just talking about. And I suppose I should talk louder, huh?
I don't know. I mean, you might be picked up. We're in a very quiet
Yeah,
area.
we are, it's quieter here. So let's just try it for a minute, but it strikes me that you got all these people that wanna sell you gold, silver, precious metals, they wanna sell you cryptocurrency, and they're willing to take your dollar, which is on the precipice of collapsing, in exchange for giving you the security of what they're gonna sell.
That's a
I-
very good point.
I tend to question things.
That's a good point. It's kind of like, you know, people buying these $1 million houses on the edge of the ocean. and-
Right.
And they're talking about we're fixing to be underwater, so, yeah.
Uh-huh, yeah,
Yeah,
so I just wonder about these things.
that's a good point.
You know, if it's really gonna collapse, why would they be willing to take it for anything? I think this is gonna break my teeth. They are hard.
Then we gotta have good teeth for
We
that
go to the
bad
dentist
boy.
next week, so might as well do it now.
It's not on the schedule.
You're gonna get a new crown, might as well get two.
Crispy pretzel.
They did sound hard.
They're crunchy. They're crunchy.
They are crunchy. On purpose, I'm sure.
Should be getting one more phone call.
Sure, you said name of that place called All Day Chemist?
All Day Chemist,
Where they from?
India.
yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't take that long to get, a few weeks.
They actually,
Is that pure form or how's it coming?
It's a
capsule.
pill, yeah, I get the, 12, I think it's 12 milligrams, the biggest one that they have. They
So
have
it's
three,
different,
six.
that's different when you used to buy at the vet?
It's pretty neat, isn't
Oh,
it?
yeah, yeah,
Yes.
we're so humans,
Human?
yeah. And,
Well, no, actually, 'cause back in the day, I
it's
thought, you know.
not, it's not the paste, it's capsules and you get 3, 6, or 12, but I got the 12 because you take it according to your weight. And nobody, you know, kid you give them 3 milligrams, but for us, 12 milligram is enough. For him, probably more than that.
Do you take it once a day?
I don't know
what's
the
that, what-
dosage. Depends on what you're trying to cure, if it's preventive.
You can search it online.
Yeah, Yeah.
So I got a cold early last month,
Oh, that's,
and she gave me an ivermectin and 1 or 2 HDQs. I'm good.
Good, all right.
Done in less than 48 hours.
yeah, I'm gonna go for a colonoscopy next month. I'm gonna take a ivermectin before I go, soon. So it'll pop out anything that might be, wrong.
I think you're right, whoever said, is it a wedding? It's probably a wedding.
Yeah.
Sure looks like.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for coming out tonight again. What a beautiful day, wasn't it?
Oh, man.
Did
Were you
everybody-
flying or driving?
I was driving, which is just, better than flying for sure.
Yeah,
but put the windows down. Where I started in Pennsylvania, it was very foggy, it was 40 degrees this morning up there, waking up, which was pretty warm. But it was very interesting, and then the fog broke and the clouds and the sunshine. It's just beautiful driving back through Maryland and Virginia. Glad to be back here.
I don't know how you do all that, going around all over the place, hold the job.
That's a great job.
Yeah,
Wow. Travel all over the place, huh?
the last couple of weeks I have.
No, I'm still on the East Coast, you all right? You go to California, yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually working on a contracting for California right
Oh,
now.
yeah. Don't hang it there too long, man. You catch something.
That's right.
Fly back.
Well, maybe I'll get this banner finished before the next time around.
Yeah. Time to,
Yeah,
this, Robert Morris sent that to me. The first page is a tearjerker.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that, right up there, what was it, Genetaka was reading?
yeah,
That was really good.
yeah. And have you gone on to, what's the website I keep staying in my brain?
Peasants,
Perspective. .org.
yeah, I visited it, after last week.
Yeah, there's a lot on there, really neat. They've done a great job with it.
Yeah, and they post it every couple of days.
Yeah, that's really good. And then, believe it or not, there's some of these guys that have nobody out here representing them or supporting them at all, And those are the ones we got to try to help find and
Do you
seek
know
out.
whether the Sentinel ever got to the jail?
No, I keep wanting to ask Chris, but obviously he's got a program he wants to get out, so I figure he'll tell us if he got it.
Yeah, what I did was, the most important article in it, I know there's a 5-page max, so I was able to
Oh, you mailed this down?
cut and paste. Yeah, I sent it to like 5 or 6 people over there. and
wonderful.
told them to, spread it around, but it took up 5 pages.
Well, it was a long one, but look at that, that's wonderful.
And then I just wrote some things in
Oh,
there.
nice.
But just
Awesome.
just in case it didn't get to them, at least they got the article.
I'm glad you did that.
And-
Yeah, there was supposed to be someone taking in actual copies to them, but I don't know if she made it through,
Yeah,
and then, or made it in there.
so I have a few more I want to send out, just, I leave the last page blank so I can write a handwritten note.
Yeah, that's nice. Well, I think it's great that you do that much correspondence every month, too.
It's great, it's wonderful.
Yeah,
You get all the pictures and everything?
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
had it from, I just do screenshots from the Sentinel, and then I, crop it and get it on the page. And
Yeah, I think you sent me information that I passed on to our people about being able to write them and everything, so I'm hoping
Yeah.
that, because so many of them want to do something.
Yeah.
That's an easy way to help.
I write to
It is.
I write to all these guys here. There's 30 of them.
Oh my
That
gosh.
I do a form letter, and then at the end, I do a personal.
Yeah.
So I don't know
Something
what
personal.
the general areas of focus are for like the breakfast clubs or that.
Everything, it's same, you
Yeah,
mean Jennifer?
Well, yes,
So, I mean,
she should answer.
NNP is kind of a 90% J6.
Yeah.
So I wonder what
That's wonderful.
because
I was updating this today.
you could take an organization and divide it 1,000 ways and point it in 1,000 directions and still not hit all of the targets that are out there.
Oh,
So, that's why I was just wondering, because I know that, one of the things that keeps Cheryl and I going is the fact that we physically engage with people, faces that we can see, we participate in this thing, and it's kind of a self-licking ice cream cone, it helps you keep going. So if people wanna participate and help somebody, I think they get a lot of plus from.
Self-licking ice cream.
I do, I
It was a
co-lead the
visual,
Middle
just for you,
Peninsula
Tom.
one.
You just seem to have paid attention.
That meets at Damon's Event Center there in Gloucester.
I was at that.
But I just think that if people
Yeah,
can get
Cheryl, Sue
engaged
Cheryl used to lead
with
it,
other
but,
human beings
Mary Gibbs
doing
and I are
it,
leading it
then
now.
Okay.
they're more
And
likely
we actually
to
added a
do it
Zoom
more than
link.
once if they're
So
gonna
you
write a
can
letter to
actually
somebody.
That's how I went down when Rod Woodman came and spoke.
Yes, okay.
Was there a year?
You're still dwelling on that,
That
so.
was,
It's a perpetual motion machine
Yeah,
kind of thing, right?
yeah.
It is.
Yeah, we went. He's my neighbor from Montrose, see, that's why I communicate him all the time.
Yeah, I forwarded that one email newsletter to y'all, so you could see what
Yes,
was happening
yeah,
there.
that was actually really good. I read
Thank
that,
you,
yeah.
thank you, we
I
changed
was,
it,
I
like,
was, I was actually kinda impressed, the format, the layout, the content
thank you.
was really good.
Y'all
Um,
still meeting monthly?
We meet every week, every Monday morning, 8 to
Oh,
10
oh, wow.
at Damon's. And we just added a Zoom link,
I
so,
heard that.
so now, and we actually had our first time using that last Monday. We had 3 people Zoom in, which was great.
So you got more members added since last time?
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
yeah, we're
man.
having, you know, that is showing us too that people are waking up. We've got new people joining every week. And, yeah, they're like, okay, we gotta do something, you know,
I remember being there.
yeah, we got to do something.
That's another thing, I'm starting to see, you know, when everybody here had that hammer drop on their head at a different day. You know, we didn't all just have a hit, except for, you know, the 2020 election. But in and around, there was, whatever triggered this was unique to the individual. And I'm seeing people that have been asleep for a very long time, they're waking up, and I watch some of the stuff that they write, and I'm like, you know, I was there 2.5 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for coming on. Instead of, you know, I see some people will go to beat them up and treat them like they're idiots. I'm like, no, they're just where we were 2 years ago.
Yeah,
I think
Encourage
everybody's
them.
on a different point in the journey, you know? what
Yeah,
I mean?
exactly.
We all are.
Yeah. So people don't need to beat up on somebody just because they're in a different spot on the
No.
path.
The thing that woke me, kind of kept track, but I remember about 5 years ago, I actually sat down at the flagpole when Trump was running in Matthews down at the courthouse, and I was playing patriotic music on my guitar, and the Democrats were set up over here, and they kept telling me to go home.
No,
and,
no.
and I was like, I don't have to. I'm sitting here. I'm, you know. So I was kind of getting a little bit involved. But what got me involved was the kids. Everything going on with the kids in the schools. I'm like, okay, it's time to do something. This is ridiculous. And, so that's when, because I volunteer in the schools, and our farm is a Kiwanis farm. So we're a Kiwanis Club farm. We have a Kiwanis Club in Matthews, and so we're all about working with the kids, you know, and
So what's your top priority with the Breakfast Club y'all doing? What's your top goal? What y'all working on now? For
Well-
state, feds, or both, or what?
it's every week we have our elected officials come to it, and they report on what's happening in Gloucester, Matthews, and Middlesex, and then we have our elected and our appointed. They talk, so we get school boards talking, and they're
Okay.
talk about the superintendent of schools is going to come talk to us soon, and everything. And we get right now we've got a whole line of people running for Senate, you know, for the U.S. Senate
Right.
is coming through talking. Monday we've got what's his name, Chief Ron Vitello. He goes by Chief. He doesn't go
Okay.
by Ron, so he's coming through on Monday. And then the only one we haven't heard from is Gwen Hickman and Hun Cow. We haven't heard Hun Cow yet.
Hung
Have
cow.
you seen his YouTube where he's
So
doing that?
he's not standing on the hoof, he's just
Yeah,
home.
yeah, he's supposed to be joining us soon. Now, he always Zooms you though. I think he's from Loudoun County, so he's a good ways away. But we've had some impressive people. Love Chuck Smith. Chuck Smith was wonderful. What a charming man. Chuck was speaking at our breakfast club on Monday at VAMFA. He spoke to the breakfast club and then he ran down and joined us at VAMFA because he was speaking at the bell tower.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, yeah. Who was the pastor that spoke that morning? It did not list his name. He was wonderful.
The black gentleman with the nice hat?
Yes. He spoke at the bell tower. He did the prayer,
Yeah.
but it didn't list his name on the program. And
Craig?
somebody was asking me.
It's Craig. I might have it in my phone. I'll tell you. But yeah, he's really well spoken. And
Very well spoken.
I think he has a radio program or something.
really?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not surprised because he was very well spoken.
And I met him at the Virginia Tea Party, and he actually came out to one of our vigils out here at the jail. If you guys might
That's the
remember.
guy, yeah, I remember him.
Wow.
Reverend Craig Johnson.
Craig Johnson. Okay.
Yeah. And here's his email.
Oh, have you got it?
Yeah.
Oh,
If you want
gosh.
to get it, I can text it to you or whatever.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, he was very well spoken.
Have y'all heard it? Jonathan Emord?
Yes. In fact,
He's got
been,
my vote.
Yeah, he's actually spoke to us a couple of times. He's coming back in a couple of weeks to speak to us again. They're all really pushing to get all those signatures. I guess they all need so many thousand signatures to be in the primary
Yep,
and all
that's
like
the way
that.
it works with the registrars.
And you asked for the purpose of our breakfast club is action. The breakfast clubs, they're all over Virginia.
Right, I understand.
And so we're actually starting to work together for action. So we're working together, and I passed on your information about writing the J6ers, and they pass on stuff to me, and so we're
that's the
constantly
way it
looking for
needs
ways
to
to
work.
help.
Right.
We ought to develop one here for the Northern NAC. I really think we should, because I think there's enough people. Like a lot of our members wanted to do more. They wanted to meet more than once a month. So having
Right,
the
yeah.
Monday morning meetings, casual, have breakfast at a nice location,
Yes.
even if it's just a small group, but then it could build.
Some of the breakfast clubs only meet for like an hour and a half, but ours, we at 8 o'clock people come in and they mingle and eat between 8 and 8:30, and then 8:30 to 10 is our actual meetings.
Okay.
And it keeps us all in the loop with what's happening because we have school board members. The chairman of our school board comes to ours. And we have the chairman of the Matthews County Republican Committee comes, and the chairman of the Gloucester County Republican Committee. We've not had a lot of involvement from Middlesex lately. I'm really targeting them. Y'all are welcome to join ours. We're a little far for y'all, I guess.
But if we can Zoom you,
You're able to Zoom us now.
Exactly.
that's
You're
right.
able to Zoom us, and it
Come down
actually
sometime
worked
in
very
person.
well.
I ought to be in person too.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, Mary Gibbs is the chairman of our local school board, and
So we have 2 minutes.
So
2 minutes.
she co-leads with me.
So if they don't call in, I
Our
can
new
play
one, we
last
just
weeks
got them, so we're seeing what they're gonna do.
anthem when they
the
sing.
reason I ask is DEI.
Why would you do that?
If they don't call in,
And I don't know if
we
you're
have-
aware, but there
You
are
don't wanna-
several
you don't like to sing.
states where
Well,
they're
it's
having
just
the
like
constitutional
They'll
court
call
cases
us.
over DEI.
Yeah.
Just in general, it's supposed to be, and I agree that it's bad
Yeah.
on many different levels. The thing that concerns me the most is the people that are funding it and driving it.
Right.
It's not even governments. We got teachers unions, we got the Southern Poverty Law Center, they're involved with it. Just driving this thing like it's carte blanche, and they're literally teaching kids to hate each other.
It is bad. Well, that's what I was impressed with the black pastor that spoke at the bell tower. He starts off by saying, he says, because it was on Martin Luther King Day, it was last Monday, and he goes, Dr. King would be very upset with that we're back at this racial stuff.
Right.
We were past
He'd be
this.
even more
And for a
upset
black
about the
pastor
people
to
that
say
were
that.
driving it.
Yeah.
Right. And he's like, I'm ashamed of all these people, these black people that are driving this, and the white people too. We're past all this racial stuff.
Well, right. It's both sides are driving it because
Yes.
it's the communists or the socialists that are driving this wedge between any of us for
Yes.
whatever reason. Tall people, short people, whatever. Any reason that you can to try to
Yes.
divide a wedge.
And
divide
it's-
us.
And that's classic Marxism.
This
It
when
is.
Obama came aboard, that's when it started.
No, I'm afraid so.
I think it started November 22nd, 1963.
So you guys wanna take a vote, you wanna sing, or do you want to play
Well, we could
something
sing-
from before?
We could sing, or we could sing with the
Oh,
last.
oh, it's 9:00?
It's almost 9 o'clock.
It is 9
It is
o'clock.
9.
It's
But we're not
after
able
9.
to, they have
10
to call in.
seconds
for
after
it.
9.
All right. What do you wanna do?
I have,
I have the last
you
week's.
go ahead and do it
The
then.
guys singing with
All
us.
We're doing a rerun.
Tell us how to sing.